Hello and welcome to the last video for this module. So a couple things we're going to do in this video. The first thing is I actually had a clip that I forgot to input in the last video that just talks about SPSS and some of its user-friendly features and why we use that. So we're going to watch that first because I think that's important, and I had a couple things to say in that. Then what we're going to do is talk about how to input your own data. So in the last video that we watched, we had a data set already, and we just opened up that data set in SPSS and ran some analysis with it. But sometimes you're going to start with that blank Excel sheet and have to input your own data. So that's what this video is going to be about, is how you go about doing that. So let's go ahead and hop over to that other little video first. We'll do that, and then we'll carry on from there. So I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is see a cute little picture of my dog as I just talk for a minute, and then we're going to open SPSS. But the first thing that we really just want to talk about is why use SPSS. So there are several different types of software out there, and perhaps you have even used them. But SPSS is what UK usually has their students use just to start off with. And a lot of it is because it's just so user friendly. It's really a point and click program. There's not a lot of coding, and it really can just kind of help familiarize a beginner student with how do we even input data, analyze data, and take raw data and produce graphs and charts and things like that. So it really is a great starting point, and for some people it may be as far as you need to go. But for other people who are going to do more extensive research or deal with like large bodies of research that have thousands of cases or something like that, you're likely going to end up using other programs like Stata or R. I believe Python's another program that you might use. But for this class, we are only going to use SPSS. So the first part, like I mentioned before, is just to open SPSS. And now we're going to head on over to today's video. So I'll see you over there. All right, so we are back to this screen. And so of course, we're just going to click close. And then now we have our blank screen that looks a lot like that Excel sheet that I talked about. So I have some notes over to the side, so I'm going to periodically look over to the side at some of my notes. So hopefully that's not distracting. But what we're going to do first is it opens up to our data view, and we're going to come over here to our variable view. So for this data set, I'm just honestly going to kind of like make some things up on the fly. As a former kindergarten and second grade teacher, and then someone who works with kids and tutors older kids, I have read a lot of books with kids, and I thought it would be fun to just maybe make a little spreadsheet that has some of the books that we've read and some of like what kind of variables could we come up with this. And so it's going to be just like a really basic, kind of hopefully fun one to work with. So for the name, I'm going to just type title. If you remember, we can't have any spaces, but I'm just going to limit it to one word. So now I'm going to come over here to type, and it's going to autofill that whole row. And my type is actually going to be a string, because I'm not going to put a number for the title. I'm going to type in a string of letters. So we're going to click string. Then the width we don't care about. The decimal we're going to leave as 0. And then for the label, I'm going to write out let's pretend like this is a survey, what my question would be. So let me do that really quick. So our values we don't care about, and our missing we don't care about, because every row is going to have a title of a book and all of this. Okay, so let's keep heading over here, and we're going to leave it as nominal because it's going to be a string variable with the title of the book. So that autofill is correct. All right, so I'm just going to fast forward this. I'm going to type in all of the variables, and then we'll talk about it in a minute. So I'll fast forward this part. All right, so let's just take a look. I tried to have a couple different types of variables. So over here we have the title of the book, the author of the book, how many pages the book is, the genre, a ranking, because the kids would always rank on a scale of, I think, 1 to 5 stars. How would you rank the book? And then the duration. Okay, so then notice over here, for anything that would be a nominal variable that I could type in, I'm going to put as a string. And then for anything that is a number, I'm going to leave as numeric. Then we have our label and then our level of measurement. So nominal, scale, and then ordinal for our ranking. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at what it would look like in the data view. Okay, so now we can see our variables are at the top, and then here's where those observations or cases will go here. But we can see that our variables now moved to the top. So there's still a few more things we want to do with our variables. So let's hop back over to our variable view. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work with the values. So let's go over here to genre, and what is the genre of the book? And now we're going to give that value. So remember, I'm going to, well, let me just show you that again. I'm going to click on this and that little ellipse thing with the 3 buttons. I'm going to click on that. So then I'm going to click this plus sign, and it's going to have a value and a label. All right, so the value is going to be a 1, and then I'm going to come over to the label, and we're going to say that that is going to be non-fiction. So we're going to do that, and my value is going to be 2, and then my next is going to be fiction. Okay, so I'm going to go on and just put, I don't know, 5 or 6 in here. So let me do that quickly. Okay, so we can see over here I have values of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I labeled them: nonfiction, fiction, historical fiction, mystery, fairy tale, and fantasy. So that is going to work for now. So I'm going to click OK. And then we have our ranking. So I'm going to go over here and hit that plus, and now I'm going to fill this in for ranking. We have our little star system. So I'm going to click OK on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stars. I'm going to click OK. And now our duration. How long did it take us to finish the book? And so you notice you can like just click these also, and you can add them up. And if you you can put all those out first, and if you made one extra that you don't need, just click the X. Okay, so let me fill that in, and I'll be back in a second. All right, so notice for this that a value of a 1 is 3 weeks, because it never would have taken us less than 3 weeks to finish a book. And so that's going to require a little bit of thinking, or like having this printed out somewhere else, because I don't want to forget that 1 means 3 weeks. And so sometimes your numbers won't match perfectly. A lot of times, like with race or ethnicity, you know, it's not going to make sense. Like what order did you put them in? And so having a little cheat sheet somewhere nearby or somewhere else in like a different document that you have saved will definitely help you. Or like just a screenshot of this, honestly. That's actually exactly what I did, is I just took a screenshot of it, and I have it on the computer next to me, so I know what the numbers are. When I input it, it will make it a lot easier. So I'm gonna click OK here. All right, let's go ahead and start inputting some data. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do a few cases or rows, and then I'll come back and chat about it. So let me go ahead and just give this a go. So notice straight away I ran out of space. That can be fixed. So let's come over here to our variable view, and we have our width. Let's say I want it to be able to have 20 letters. All right, so now I can go back over here, and I should be able to finish this. You see that? Okay, so that's one thing we can do. All right, I'm going to need to fix author also, because notice author is 8, so a string of 8 letters, but I'm going to need more than 8 letters. So I'm going to go ahead and increase that, and now we're on our merry way again. So now we got to the genre, and let's say I don't remember the coding system that I put, and I don't want to always have to go over here and like click this and say, okay, Charlotte's Web was a fantasy, and so that's a 6, so I need to put that in there. So this is where that little screenshot comes in handy. So I actually have a screenshot on another computer over here, and then that way I'm just gonna like plug in a 6 and keep going. So that's a little pro tip for you. Case 10 is going to be the last one that I put in, and I'm going to put in a book that we didn't finish because we didn't like it. So we're going to go back over to the variable view, and then over here for the rank, what I want to do is I just want to add something, right? And I want to add a missing value. So I'm just going to go ahead over here. And usually for our missing values, we put as a negative. And honestly, the number you put after it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to say -3, and I'm going to say did not finish. Okay, so now when I come over here, I'm going to type that in and put a -3. Okay, so then now I got to the rank, and I'm going to put -3, and then duration is a 0, and we'll see what that does. Okay, so the next thing I can do is come over here and click that. Now I have my title, I have my author, the pages, and then because I clicked on this, now it's giving me the alphabet view. So now I can see, this is also a good way to double check. And then I have our stars, and this one says do not finish now. But actually I realized that because we didn't finish this, I don't want it to say 383 pages because we didn't finish it. So let's just say that we read 100 pages. That way, if I was going to run the analysis to see how many pages did we read, during these 6 months or whatever, it would have the accurate amount of pages, not the pages in the book. So I'm going to change that to 100, and then let's say we didn't have a 0 because we didn't have 0 weeks. So let's say that we read those 100 pages in 3 weeks. So I'm going to put a 1 there, and then we can double check to make sure everything came out. So it has 100 pages, fairy tales, did not finish, but we read it for 3 weeks. So that way it better reflects what we actually did do if I want to know that. And that's it. So hopefully you are really getting a feel for kind of the user friendliness of this program and just a little bit of the kind of point and click. So ideally we're just starting off with a program that's really easy to use so that we can learn how these analyses work and how to interpret them and how to read them. And then as you progress through your program, you're likely going to be using some other software that requires a little bit more coding. But hopefully this helps kind of get our feet wet and just get comfortable using this type of software for a lot of us for the first time. Hopefully these videos have set you up for success, and I believe one of your first assignments with SPSS is going to be to open up a blank data set, take a screenshot, and upload that. So hopefully that you feel successful with that, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.